Hey guys, hope everybody's doing wonderful on this beautiful day. I just wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit with you about what it means to be an individual. Now, we hear this concept and we think, well, it's pretty simple. You go to the beat of your own drum, or you go against the grain, or whatever the case may be. But you'll notice something about nonconformists. They're all the same. So, right. And on the one hand, there's really no getting away from this thing. Conformity is part of our evolutionary survival tactics. It's how we harmonize. It's how we create culture. And this can be good. You can make beautiful, synchronistic, healthy culture that supports and reinforces creativity. But we don't really have a lot of that, and we don't really see a lot of that in our world today. In our society, and in societies for a very long time, we've been conditioned to be cookie cutter, reflections of each other. And we've, very specifically in the United States, we have been conditioned in such a way so that we are perfect fuel to feed the machine and the mechanism. Now, I think that every human being is a genius, potentially. I think that in every human being is a wellspring of creative energy that goes largely untapped, that most people never find. And they go about their lives in quiet desperation, never filling the potential of what they can become and what they could become. And, we see, I don't know, have you ever thought about, the way that a computer is programmed? It's a constant input of data to program a computer. The same is true for a robot. The same is true for a civilian, right? So they keep putting the information in to program a thing just the way they want to produce a machine. Humans are very simple animals to control. We imitate and we regurgitate what is put in us, right? So it's for this reason we need to be very careful about what we put inside of us. Now, I do believe that exposure, variety stimulate intelligence, and they can stimulate creativity if we know how to properly assimilate the information, and also if we are in turn creating from inside of us. Because if you're always taking in, but you're never producing, you're never reciprocating energy back into the world, you are just being programmed, right? Take how a soldier is made, for example. When a soldier is created, you go to boot camp, right? This is the first step. And you learn to become a good soldier, right? You take orders. They essentially strip you of any semblance of individuality. They do this by very simple means. First, they do it with the outside, obviously. They shave the head. Why? Why do they do that? It isn't because the enemy is going to pull your hair on the battlefield. That's bullshit. It's so you look like everybody else, right? And they put you in a uniform where you look like everybody else. Because you start to think that you don't have a sense of individuality. And this is practical, when you're trying to make an army that follows orders. Now, they go to boot camp, and what do? They talk you down. They call you a maggot piece of shit. They talk about your family, that you're essentially a number, right? And they never give you time for contemplation. Your entire day is filled. They exhaust you physically, right? Which in turn exhausts you mentally, right? Because they don't need you thinking for yourself to make a good soldier out of you. And this is obvious, and it's practical and logical for the agenda that's trying to be accomplished. Now, and you'll notice, and when you ask, why do you do this? They say, well, we're breaking you down to build you up, right? But if you pay attention to words, you'll notice something. There's an implication in there that most people miss. And by saying we're breaking you down to build you up, this implies that there was something there prior to the breaking down. So what is it they're tearing down, right? And I think our culture does this to us. You know, most people have never done, well, I shouldn't say most people, but a lot of people have not done a whole lot in their life that they really inside want to. Because their spouse told them they shouldn't, or their teachers, or their pastor, their parent, whatever. The megaphone of society is blaring through what you should and need to be. And we listen. Because we do this naturally. Now, this is causing a lot of problems for us. You know, corporations are really what is manufacturing and running things. You know, we call, this is corporate America. You know, a lot of people say, well, it's the deep state, it's the government. It's not, man. It's not. You know, out in Standing Rock, they literally had the police and riot gear, hundreds of them, right? And also Homeland Security out there protecting a corporation. It wasn't the government. DAPL is not the government. DAPL is a corporation, but they got our government on a chain, don't they? I'm getting off on a tangent. This really isn't what I was trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at is we need to develop within us individuality. And, you know, and a lot of the reasons that we don't do this is because of this simple process of human conditioning. But it is also because we have this tendency to project our own darkness out onto the world and to create enemies, right? Because it's so much easier to say, I'm not the one. I'm not the one with problems. There's the evil. There's the darkness. See? It's not me. It's Donald Trump. It's guns. It's the Democrats. It's the lesbians. It's the feminists. It's whoever. You know, take your pick. Each person is going to have a different way that they ignore their own darkness. Now, I love what Dostoevsky said when he said, the line dividing good and evil runs through the center of every human heart. And you can't destroy a piece of your own heart. And Carl Jung, in my opinion, the most brilliant psychologist that's ever walked the face of the planet, and one of the most brilliant men that has likely ever walked the face of the planet, said that we would do well to have an imagination in evil. What did he mean when he said that? I think he meant that he knows that we all have a shadow. And the potentiality to do evil exists in every human. You know, you can look at the child molester and the rapist and the murderer and you can say, oh, how horrendous, the horror. I'm telling you, given the right conditions, given the right upbringing, you would be not a different monster. We need to take these things into account when we want to judge other people. We want to look and say, look, there's the problem. There it is. We need to understand that human beings are sharing a collective kind of energy, right? And when you and I don't face ourselves and we don't integrate the shadow and the subconscious mind, that little I want machine with all its impulses and desires, and we don't somehow find a way to usher it out into the light, to integrate and to deal with it properly, we always project our darkness out onto the world. This is how Hitlers are made. Energy is never created nor destroyed, and your energy is no different. And what you are putting out there, it is going to find a place to collect. It's not dying. It's going to go somewhere. Hitlers are made like this. Stalins are made like this. But also, messiahs are made like this. Right? And in each one of us, we have the potential for the messianic mind. We have the potential to understand. Now, I guess in saying all that, what I want to encourage is First of all, that we suspend judgment of other people. Now, don't get me wrong, and don't mince my words, and don't misunderstand me. I am not saying we let go evil, or what we call and perceive as evil, to go unpunished. I mean, we cannot let people that are completely out of their gourd run the streets. But I also don't think taking people and locking them in a box and shutting them away from the world is the answer either. Look how far it's gotten us. We need to start thinking for ourselves. We need to start being critical, and we need to start finding real solutions to the human condition. And that starts with understanding ourselves. That starts with us being honest about who we are. And it's hard, right? The subconscious mind, Carl Jung said, it seems a positive menace to the ego that it's not the monarch. But it's not. The subconscious is moving, and there is an author behind everything inside of you. It's like we're our own dream, on a deeper level of our consciousness. And so to be able, now the shadow is not all bad, what we would call dark, that term shadow, it goes, it makes us a little nervous. But this area of our minds and within us holds vast potential and power and energy behind it for creativity. So let's start with a very simple step. I would like to challenge you to do something today or tomorrow that you have always wanted to do, but you never did because somebody told you ought not to. Maybe that means singing in public, or acting crazy, or using some cuss words, or stealing something. The horror. Go on and steal something. Did Mason just tell you to go steal? Yes, I did. All right, but don't steal from your friends. Steal from, I don't know, fucking Walmart or something. Pack of gum. I don't know shit. Just my point is dance with that thing a little bit, right? Eat a mushroom. Explore your own mind and your own subconscious, and you'll see. The thing about darkness when we confront it, and the thing about the things we're afraid of. When we actually bring them to the light, we can integrate them in a really beautiful way. Because here's the thing. When you repress the shadow ain't going to be repressed for long, man. It's going to find the cracks in your psyche. And where it doesn't find them, it's going to make them. And then it's going to crack through in all manner of unpleasant ways, and it's going to sabotage shit for you. That's what Carl meant when he said, have an imagination in evil. Because this helps you to become a healthier, more integrated human being. And then you can deal with it in a way that is actually healthy. The darkness ain't going anywhere. It's here to stay, right? So we might as well find an expression for it that creates more beauty in this world. And that is possible. Contrary to popular belief, that can be done. I assure you of that. So anyway... And also, with everything you're putting in the mind, create something. Write a poem. Give something back. We don't want to be takers. The universe abhors a vacuum. Create. And you're going to learn things about yourself. You're going to learn that you have potential and brilliance within you that you never knew was there. And you're going to love it. And that thing is going to come alive, and it's going to burn with a sacred flame. We all got this. It's in us all. I love you. I hope I'm understood here. Some things to think about. There's obviously a lot more that can be said on all of this, and a lot more to be learned. But if you take anything away from this, take away the suspension of judgment. Suspend it. Understand that we are very complex creatures, and people don't just do shit. It's easy to point your finger at the drug addict or the abusive individual and say, oh, what a monster. Why? Why are they acting this way? Why are they doing this? There are answers to these conundrums, And if we figure them out, we can figure out healthy ways to bring about lasting change in this world. I want to change the world. I really want to change it. I really want to change culture. I want to see it happen. And I think we can do it. You know, we think about that and we're like, oh, just so much to be done. It's going to take so much work. Yeah, it is. It is going to take work. Rome wasn't built in a day, you know, the old cheesy ass cliche. You don't need an elephant but one bite at a time, right? Let's get started. I love you.